Lebanon-based Hezbollah launched its deepest attack inside Israel since the start of the Gaza war. The group said that it had launched drone attacks on Israeli bases north of the city of Acre. Hezbollah says that this was in retaliation for Israel killing one of its fighters. However, the Israeli military said that no bases had been hit. Protests against the Gaza war are now increasing in universities and workplaces in the US. Google has fired 20 more workers who protested against the firm's ties with the Israeli government. The company had earlier dismissed around 30 employees over the same issue. Last week, some of the firm's employees had staged protests at multiple Google offices in the US. They were demanding that Google end its contract with the Israeli government. The US Senate has passed a $95 billion aid package for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. The bill comes after months of delays. It will provide $61 billion in assistance to Ukraine, $26 billion to Israel, and about $8 billion to Taiwan. The bill also paves the way for deliveries of new weapons to Kyiv as soon as this week. US President Joe Biden will sign the bill into law today. Meanwhile, China has opposed the US Senate's inclusion of Taiwan in its aid package. A spokesperson said that the Taiwan issue is China's personal affair and that Beijing will not tolerate any external interference. She urged Washington to stop arming Taipei in any manner. China claims Taiwan as its own territory. However, Taipei denies Beijing's claims. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken has embarked on a 3-day visit to China. His first stop is Shanghai, where he will meet with business leaders. On Friday, he will head to Beijing for talks with his counterpart, Wang Yi. Blinken is also likely to meet Chinese President Xi Jinping in Beijing. Iran's President Ebrahim Raisi arrived in Sri Lanka this morning for a brief state visit. Raisi's trip marks the first visit by an Iranian president to Sri Lanka since April 2008. He's there to inaugurate a $514 million hydropower project. Issues like international sanctions had delayed the launch of the project since 2013. Meanwhile, North Korean state media has reported that the country has sent a delegation to Iran. North Korean officials reportedly arrived in Iran on Monday. No further details have been shared. However, the visit has sparked concerns of nuclear cooperation between Iran and North Korea. Staying with North Korea, the sister of their leader Kim Jong-un has made an announcement. Kim Yo-jong has vowed to strengthen the country's military. She said that Pyongyang will continue to build its military to safeguard the country's sovereignty. Kim Yo-jong has blamed the US military for raising tensions in the region. In recent months, the US and South Korea have conducted a range of military drills. Indonesia's election commission has formally declared Prabowo Subianto the country's next president. Indonesia had gone to polls in mid-February, but the declaration of the final results has been delayed. This is because the two losing presidential candidates had filed appeals. They alleged that there were voting irregularities and demanded a new election. However, Indonesia's top court has shot down the challenges, paving the way for Prabowo's victory. Prabowo is due to take the reins from outgoing leader Joko Widodo in October. Former US President Donald Trump met with Japan's former Prime Minister Taro Aso yesterday. He welcomed Aso at the Trump Tower in New York. The politicians discussed security and economic concerns during their meeting. They also spoke about the importance of the US-Japan alliance. The Trump-Aso meeting comes just 2 weeks after the current US President Joe Biden met with Japan's sitting Prime Minister Fumio Kishida. In Argentina, hundreds of thousands of students took to the streets of Buenos Aires to stage an anti-government march. They were protesting against the government's budget cuts to public universities. The students held up large banners and chanted slogans against President Javier Milei. This was the biggest protest yet against Milei's ongoing austerity measures. In Germany, the police have arrested an employee of the Alternative for Germany political party. This is over suspicions of him spying for China. The employee has been identified as Jian Guo. He worked as an assistant for the AfD's Maximilian Krah. Jian Guo allegedly passed information about negotiations and decisions in the European Parliament to Chinese intelligence. He's also suspected of spying on Chinese opposition figures in Germany. In climate news, Bangladesh is under a brutal heatwave spell. The heatwave has pushed the temperatures to 43 degrees Celsius in the country. According to Bangladesh's meteorological department, high temperatures may persist for the next 72 hours. Schools have been temporarily shut and people have been advised to stay inside. Heavy snowfall has blanketed Finland's capital Helsinki and nearby areas. Southern Finland experienced over 20 centimeters of snowfall. Meanwhile, the northwest regions of Helsinki recorded at least 28 centimeters of snow. The late spring snow halted public transportation for a few hours. Heavy rains and floods have devastated Kenya, impacting thousands of people. The floodwater has submerged hundreds of houses with people still trapped inside. The water has also destroyed crops, leaving people without their harvests and therefore no food. The Kenyan Meteorological Department has predicted that rainfall will peak this week. In Kyrgyzstan, dams holding nuclear waste threaten a Chernobyl-like disaster. This is according to a joint study by the European Commission and the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. If the dams collapse, then they will make the region around them uninhabitable. The waste is also close to a river system, which makes it prone to contamination. At least 16 million people risk being affected if the water is contaminated. Negotiators from 175 countries gathered in Canada to talk about the Global Plastic Treaty. The proposed treaty aims to reduce plastic pollution across the world. In 2022, countries agreed to finalize the world's first treaty by the end of this year, 2024. Nearly 4 in 10 people in the US are exposed to unhealthy levels of air pollution. This is according to a report by the American Lung Association. The report named California, Arizona, and Texas as some of the most polluted US states. It added that more than 131 million people are exposed to harmful ozone and particle pollution. This level of exposure raises the risks of lung and heart diseases, asthma attacks, and reproductive issues. Bill Nelson, the head of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, or NASA, has urged countries to focus more on addressing climate change. He said that the countries must make changes at a faster pace to mitigate greenhouse gas emissions. Nelson added that NASA satellites are constantly collecting data about the climate. He wants to make that data accessible and educate people on how to use it. A South Korean court is hearing a case brought by young climate activists. They accuse the government of failing to protect people by not controlling climate change. Some also blamed the South Korean government for continuously delaying the reduction of carbon emissions. On to business and tech news. In the US, a bill that could ban the Chinese social media app TikTok is one step away from becoming law. It's part of the new military aid package for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. There's a section in the bill that calls for the banning of TikTok. The US Senate passed this bill on a landslide vote yesterday, so TikTok could be banned in the US if the app's Chinese owner, ByteDance, does not sell it in 1 year. The bill will now be sent to President Joe Biden for approval. Biden has already expressed his support for the measure, citing national security concerns. iPhone sales in China plunged by nearly 19% in the first quarter of 2024. This is according to a new report by market research firm Counterpoint. This marks Apple's worst sales record in China since 2020. iPhone sales in China have declined amid tough competition from the domestic rival Huawei. Huawei's smartphone sales in the country jumped by over 70% in the first 3 months of this year. South Korea's military is reportedly planning to ban iPhones over security concerns. The army is worried about possible leaks of sensitive information through iPhone voice recordings. The ban could impact nearly 500,000 military personnel in South Korea. Soft drink maker Coca-Cola has signed a $1.1 billion deal with tech giant Microsoft. Microsoft will provide its cloud and artificial intelligence services to the beverage firm. Under the deal, both firms will also experiment with Microsoft's AI technologies. One of these experiments include allowing Coca-Cola customers to build chatbots using Microsoft's AI platforms. Electric car giant Tesla may start selling humanoid robots by the end of next year. A humanoid robot is one that is human-shaped and expected to perform tasks like a human. Tesla has been working on one such robot that it calls Optimus. Musk guessed that Tesla's robots will be able to perform factory tasks by the end of this year. Meanwhile, Tesla has reported a 55% drop in its profits in the first quarter of this year. This is compared to the same period a year ago. The firm's revenue also dropped by 9% in Q1. Tesla has been dealing with slow car sales in the past few quarters. To address this, the firm has announced plans to introduce an affordable car model by 2025. Tesla says that the new car is expected to cost around $25,000. Meanwhile, American automaker General Motors has reported strong earnings for the first quarter of this year. The firm's revenue rose by about 7% compared to Q1 2023 to over $43 billion. General Motors said that the demand for petrol engine vehicles helped push its earnings. The American credit card giant Visa also reported robust earnings of $8.6 billion in the first quarter of 2024. The firm's Q1 revenue rose by 9% compared to the same period last year. The firm says that robust consumer spending in the US drove its earnings. The American plane maker Boeing says it will provide advance payments to its supplier Spirit Aerosystems. Boeing will pay Spirit over $400 million. This is to help it maintain its production rate. Spirit Aerosystems makes several important pieces for Boeing's jets. However, it's been dealing with a cash crunch over the past few quarters. It was earlier reported that Boeing was in talks to acquire Spirit Aerosystems. Britain's JD Sports Fashion has proposed to buy American sportswear retailer Hibbett. The deal is worth about $1.08 billion. Hibbett operates over 1,000 stores across 36 American states. The acquisition is expected to help JD Sports expand its presence in the US. Moving to sports, we start with cricket and the Indian Premier League. Lucknow Super Giants beat Chennai Super Kings by 6 wickets. Chennai had gone out to bat first. They ended at 210 for 4 during their innings. Chennai skipper Ruturaj Gaikwad slammed an unbeaten 108 of 60 balls. But Lucknow managed a successful chase. They ended at 213 with 3 deliveries remaining. Marcus Stoinis starred for Lucknow with his unbeaten 124 of 63 balls. Reports say that India's national cricket team may not travel to Pakistan for the ICC Champions Trophy next year. Like other tournaments that face this dilemma, the Champions Trophy may get shifted or a hybrid model may be implemented. This means some matches could still be played in Pakistan, while India's fixtures could be shifted to a different venue. India's cricket board has also reportedly ruled out the possibility of any bilateral series with Pakistan in the near future. Uganda's cricket board has named Abhay Sharma as the head coach of their men's national team. Sharma is an Indian former first-class cricketer who has mentored India's cricket team and its under-19 squad. He will coach the Ugandan side for the upcoming T20 World Cup. This is the first time Uganda has qualified for the tournament. In football, Arsenal crushed Chelsea 5-0 in the Premier League last night. The match took place at the Emirates Stadium. Leandro Trossard opened scoring for Arsenal in the 4th minute, but Chelsea managed to see out the first half relatively unscathed. However, the floodgates opened in the second half. Kai Havertz and Ben White scored a brace each after half-time. It was Chelsea's worst defeat to a fellow London club since 1986. The win boosts Arsenal's chances of winning the Premier League. Meanwhile, in Italy, Juventus are through to the Coppa Italia final. They lost 2-1 to Lazio in the second leg of the semi-final last night, but Juventus had beaten Lazio 2-0 on home turf in the first leg. So Juventus have emerged as the semi-final winners with a 3-2 aggregate score. They will face either Atalanta or Fiorentina in the final. Saudi Arabian football club Al Ain have sealed their berth in the final of the Asian Champions League. This is despite losing 2-1 to fellow Saudi club Al Hilal yesterday. Al Ain had defeated Al Hilal 4-2 in the first leg that took place last week, so despite the win, Al Hilal failed to overturn the deficit and Al Ain won 5-4 on aggregate. The Saudi club will face either Japan's Yokohama FM or South Korea's Ulsan HDFC in the Asian Champions League final. In tennis, men's world number 1 Novak Djokovic is considering going forward in his career without a coach. The 36-year-old Serbian tennis legend said this after he received Sportsman of the Year at the Laureus Awards. Last month, Djokovic parted ways with his Croatian coach, Goran Ivanisevic, after 5 years. Djokovic said that at this point in his career, having no coach is also an option. Meanwhile, the men's world number 2, Italy's Yannick Sinner, downplayed comparisons to his rivals. Sinner dismissed the idea that he is the best player in the circuit right now. He told reporters that they can't compare him to Djokovic or world number 3, Carlos Alcaraz. However, Sinner will be in action at the Madrid Open and he could emerge as the new world number 1 if he wins. In Formula One, teams will discuss a new proposal to extend the points scoring system. The current scoring system has been in place since 2010. It awards points to racers who finish in the top 10. But F1 teams are considering extending the points distribution to include the top 12 racers. If this proposal passes, it will be implemented from next season. The head of the US anti-doping body has called for an investigation into the World Anti-Doping Agency. The US wants to investigate the global body's handling of 23 positive tests by Chinese swimmers. These results came up during the Tokyo Olympics, but the Chinese swimmers were not sanctioned. The global anti-doping body defended its decision, citing contamination. It concluded that the Chinese swimmers had tested positive for a banned substance accidentally. In entertainment news, Marshmello and Pink Panthers will be performing at the US's Major League Soccer All-Star concert. The event will take place before the MLS All-Star football game. The exhibition match pits Major League footballers against other international clubs. The game will take place on the 24th of July in the US state of Ohio. Singer Billie Eilish will be heading to the upcoming virtual Fortnite festival. The organizers dropped a trailer featuring Eilish's avatar. The festival will allow users to unlock playable jam tracks from the singer. This is in collaboration with Coachella, through which people will be able to experience parts of the festival virtually. The virtual festival is live now. According to reports, Kim Kardashian has lost at least 500,000 Instagram followers. This happened after the release of Taylor Swift's song Thank You Amy from the Tortured Poets Department album. Fans speculate that the diss song is about Swift's feud with the rapper Ye and Kim Kardashian. The rapper Megan Thee Stallion has been sued by her former cameraman. The case alleges that she harassed the cameraman from 2018 to 2023. The rapper allegedly chastised the cameraman for being fat and eating too much. He was also misclassified as an independent contractor, which deprived him of healthcare and overtime pay. However, Megan Thee Stallion denies these scathing allegations. Singer-songwriter Hozier's song Too Sweet has reached the top spot on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. This is his career's first song that has topped the US Billboard charts. Hozier stated on the social media platform X that he was taken by surprise when he got to know about his song's ranking. The song Too Sweet released on the 22nd of March. According to reports, rapper Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, is planning to launch an adult entertainment studio. He's been working on this idea for some time now, apparently. Ye has been in contact with film producer Mike Morse to act as the new project's head. The studio might launch this summer. The late musician John Lennon's lost acoustic guitar will go up for auction in May. The guitar was found in the attic of a house in Britain. According to the auctioneers, the guitar, which Lennon played during his time in the Beatles, is expected to fetch between $600,000 to $800,000. According to reports, a car crash occurred on the sets of the upcoming film The Pickup. This was in the US state of Atlanta. Several crew members sustained injuries, with 2 being hospitalized. The incident took place when the cast was shooting for an action sequence. In a viral social media video, actor Alec Baldwin is seen hitting a person's phone in a coffee shop. The person allegedly tried to make him say "Free Palestine." She also taunted Baldwin over the fatal Rust shooting case by saying, why did you kill that lady? Baldwin is currently awaiting trial for a charge of involuntary manslaughter. This is over a shooting that took place in 2021 on the sets of the movie Rust. British actor Thandie Newton has reportedly joined the cast of Wednesday. She's known for her roles in Westworld, Rogue and Crash. The series is expected to start filming this month. Reports say it's likely to release next year.